Alright, welcome everyone to the new and improved Flopbuster. We took a bit of a hiatus, but we're back. New form this time. We're going to do a live show from now on. First episode's going to air a little delayed, but I think from week to week we're going to take on a live format. And we're going to talk about all the movies that you love, the movies that we love, anything that's on our mind in the film world, movie news, whatever it is. I'm Tony. I'm joined here today by my co-host, as always, Gabe. It's good to be back.
Yes, it is.
And then my girlfriend, Victoria, who's a massive horror fan. We all are. In the first episode, what's more fitting than the film that came out this past weekend, Scream. The reboot of Scream, directed by Radio Silence.
And we promise no spoilers, because we understand it's the first weekend. Although we are going to talk in depth about it, we're going to try our darnest not to reveal who the killers are or a lot of the plots is.
I'm going to reveal it, honestly, personally.
Selena Gomez.
Selena Gomez.
One of the things I want to talk about for sure is pretty much where the franchise ranks amongst our favorites, all the films in it, which is something we're going to get to later on in the show. Yeah. I think that's going to be a bulk of it. Our personal ratings of where this film stands. What I can tell you right now, I loved it. I know they did. We're going to break that down. We're going to get into it. But welcome back, guys. It's been a while. We're ready to get this going.
Absolutely.
There was a couple episodes that we did shoot that are going to be online soon. I'm going to figure out how to get that going.
Starting with what, Halloween?
Yeah, we had Rob Zombie's Halloween 2.
From last May.
Never released.
Never released. Stay Alive.
I
believe there was another...
Urban Legend?
We released that. Urban Legend was released.
Yeah.
But let's get this started. Let's start talking movies. Anything cool we've seen recently besides Scream?
Actually, before the new year, I went to go see Licorice Pizza and Nightmare Alley.
Okay, I did not see Nightmare Alley, which I've been wanting to see. We saw Licorice Pizza.
I know you hated it. I didn't
like it either.
You know what's so disappointing about this is that you hyped up Licorice Alley. It wasn't even on my radar. And
he was on my ass trying to go see it. Do you want to go?
And he's like, for months, Licorice Alley. I'm excited for Licorice Alley.
Licorice Alley?
Licorice Alley. Licorice Alley. I'm like,
Licorice Alley? Is it the mashup?
Whatever.
Is that a new
movie?
It's the mashup. Nightmare Pizza.
It's the crossover.
Nightmare Pizza.
Licorice Pizza. And
Licorice Alley.
I keep on telling Jess, we should go see Licorice Pizza. And she's like, whatever.
That wasn't
you went on your own, right?
I went on my own because I was off work for the week.
Good choice.
So I went on my own. And I was like, oh my God, this movie's really good. I was like, I bet Tony's really going to like it.
Okay, let me explain myself.
And then you come back after you saw it, you're like, I freaking hated this movie.
No.
I'm like, what the hell?
Before people listening go, this guy hated Licorice Pizza. Film card revoked. Let me break it down for you real quick. And we'll talk about this for a second. I really love Paul Thomas Anderson. I love The Master. There Will Be Blood. Boogie Nights is one of my favorites. Punch Drunk Love. I was so excited for this movie. I really like all the actors in this movie. Alana Haim is awesome in this. Bradley Cooper is hilarious in this. For me, the film boils down to, and I didn't hate it, by the way. I understand why people love it.
Do you? I don't.
Yeah, I just feel like the material at hand, the story that was being told, I felt like it was handled better in another movie released recently, which was Red Rocket, which is a movie that I loved.
I like Red Rocket.
Yeah, we got a chance to see Red Rocket. That's a fantastic film about a down-on-his-luck porn star from A24. Very similar subject matter, except I felt like Licorice Pizza did not dive into the negatives of that relationship, which, again, it wasn't on the cards. It's not something Paul Thomas Anderson was interested in, which is fine, and people love that movie. I'm shocked that you love that movie.
Love is a strong word. I mean, I don't have to go out when it comes on DVD and
you pick every copy.
Pick up every copy of it. I mean, it did make my top 10 for the year because I thought it was that good. Yeah. I mean, it's not top 5, but it is I think at a strong 7.
I think I walked out of it with a mixed reaction. I think it's one of the best looking movies of the past year. It looks amazing. You could tell the way it's shot on film, and just he's truly a master of his craft. There's no denying that. I think I walked out of it, and I said it, for me, it was a 3.5 out of 5, somewhere around there. 3 out of 5. Definitely more positive, but I had a lot of big mixed thoughts about it.
Right.
I did not hate the movie though. I think something about me people say is that it's hard for me to hate a lot of movies. I know you too. I feel like though we try to avoid most bad movies that people say are just like this is fucking garbage. But then when we see those bad movies, we start a new fan club and say, oh, this was really good. Have you guys seen Jack and Jill? It's like one of my favorite comedies.
Adam Sandler.
I mean, I can't really talk much. I love Rob Zombie's Halloween. So
I just need my cappuccino.
Everybody hates that one.
I was bored with Licorice Pizza.
I know.
Dead silence.
Yeah. So
Green. Were you more bored in Green Knight or Licorice Pizza?
I fell asleep during Green Knight. I stayed awake during Licorice Pizza. So
the
Green
A24 fans are just.
It's just A24. Not for me. Apparently.
The Green Knight though. Something that was working against it when we saw it was there was something wrong with the projector. I think multiple people got.
Oh, it was really, really dark.
It was so dim, you could not see the whole movie.
I know, that's why I fell asleep.
I liked it. I wish I could see like half of what was going on.
You know, it was brightly lit that one scene.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean, we've seen Licorice Pizza, Red Rocket, the new Spider-Man, which I think we all liked.
Yep.
That was a lot of fun. That was really cool to see like a lot of things we were hoping to come true.
Yes.
It was a great year for movies.
We recently watched, I guess not a movie, Midnight Mass.
Oh yeah, Midnight Mass.
Really like Midnight
you got
Mass.
a chance to see Midnight Mass.
Yeah, I
this
saw
is all
it
stuff
when
that we haven't talked about on the show. We've been
Just
gone
in
for a
general.
while.
We saw my girlfriend's in the back over there, but we saw Midnight Mass when it first came out.
Yeah,
in the summer.
I don't remember why we watched it.
We watched it at least a week or two after you did because you were raving.
It was
to me
so
about it.
good.
Yes.
That's probably one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, no,
ever.
it was awesome. Mike Flanagan is a master of horror. Haunting of Hill House. He's done a bunch of stuff. Dr. Sleep, which I love.
Hush.
So yeah, that was a highlight of 2021. There's a bunch of stuff. You saw the new Matrix. I did not get a chance. I was excited. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Let me just say, I'm going to take a little bit of a time out here just to talk a little bit about the Matrix, because I am a Matrix stan, right? I am a Matrix homer for the Matrix, right? The Matrix was like my high school years, so I don't understand the hate. I mean, I guess I get the hate that some people have. And there's this guy on Killer Flicks that really hates it so much.
Oh, really?
I think his name is Lee.
Lee, how could you hate this movie?
Right.
Lee's the best, though.
Anyways, but this guy, like, really... But I'm going to say it's not bad. It actually... So people are like, oh, how come Morpheus isn't it? Because freaking Lawrence Fishburne is, like, 70 years old. The way they introduce the new Morpheus is a great way to introduce some of these new characters. At the base, this movie, yes, it does, and we're going to hash into this because Scream is a requel.
Yeah, it hits a lot of the same topics.
It hits a lot of the Scream topics. It's, you get fan favorite from the franchise, but with new characters. But the way that they introduced, Neo and Trinity back into this, I thought it was amazing. Yes, there's not a sequel, and it left a lot to be desired in the sense of maybe they should start a new trilogy, but nothing's been confirmed for this. So what we get, though, is a very beautiful love story on Neo and Trinity finding themselves. Yeah. Everybody always talks about, when you have your, first love or your soulmate, right? Like, if you died, could you find her in whatever, or you guys would be reunited in another life. That plays off that. And they, spoiler, but it's been on like a month, but they find that, and they find that love, and they realize that the world or whatever is just based off a lot of their love, which I know it sounds sentimental and sappy as shit, but it's true how that movie played out. I really loved it.
Yeah, no, you and then mostly everybody that I've heard from has loved the movie. I know there's a vocal minority that really, really didn't like it, but whenever a movie comes out that's that polarizing and the filmmaker sets it to be polarizing, you're going to have people that champion it forever, and then there's going to be the ones that just don't understand it and they don't like it.
And that's going to be Scream. Because it's already polarizing.
I think Scream might have... This one might have that effect, and there's one big reason why it has that effect, which is hard to cover in the show, because it's a major spoiler. But with you mentioning that, we should just go ahead and start giving our general thoughts on Scream, and then I'll start with Victoria.
Let's start with their guest.
Go first, because
I
always forget. I liked it a lot. Can I talk? You're not editing.
There's no editing.
There's no editing.
All right. Well, I thought the killer reveal, I'm not going to spoil it. I was disappointed at first because I was like, is it really that person? Like, come on. But when we watched it again yesterday, I think it makes sense. I like it. I like the...
It's hard to talk about.
Take over. I know.
No,
like, I need to feed off other people first.
It's a hard movie to talk about, this new Scream. What I will say is, I walked out completely, like, giddy and fanboying and just, like, yelling at, like, the void, because I couldn't tell anybody because nobody's seen it. How amazing it was. And I loved this movie. I thought it was so good. And what I love about what Scream does for a franchise revival, it says, is Ghostface scary in 2021? Do we need Ghostface? Do we need the slasher?
Well, that was the same thing with Halloween. Halloween
definitely raised those questions, but I feel like Halloween asked those questions and Scream answers those questions.
I think it was a good mix of new characters and legacy characters too. Yeah. Like it wasn't like too much of one.
No, the legacy characters were great as always. Everybody that you want to see is in there with a purpose.
Right.
But the big selling point to this movie is, how do we get the audience to care about a new cast, a new hip cast? And that's something that we haven't seen in a while. I mean, we saw Fear Street, which felt like a very 90s, it's set in the 90s.
Wish they were in
slasher film. And this new Scream does. And the thing that I walked out of it so excited about is I want a new wave of, like, Dimension Miramax-style slashers where you get a bunch of hot young teens.
Please, no Halloween H2O.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Halloween H2O. I want...
Josh Hartnett is back.
I want a reboot of The Faculty. I want Urban Legend. I want Valentine. I want all these movies to make a comeback.
You know what? I would want to see a reboot of The Faculty. I really like The Faculty. Yeah. Teaching Mrs. Tingle.
No,
I keep trying to find it on VHS.
Like all those movies from that era, Swim Fan. Like all these Dimension-style movies, I would love to see make a comeback. But overall, I loved this iteration of Scream. The kills, the effects, the humor, the meta humor, everything I thought was top-notch, outstanding. Like, I bow down to those radio silence guys. They were awesome.
Do wish there was more of the girl who played Randy's niece. She was probably the best in it.
The twins were my favorite. The Meeks twins. But I feel like that's what's so cool about this movie. You leave it wanting more.
So Randy's sister was into Jungle Fever.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is another cool thing about this movie is that for the first time in the franchise, we get a lot of really cool, just well done representation.
I would say yes. I think that's one of the coolest part about Scream, at least for my end being Mexican, is actually seeing two women of Mexican ancestry being a lead in a horror and survive.
Yep.
Like, we weren't just the maids getting killed by freaking,
Did they survive?
Oh.
I don't know that's a spoiler. We can bleep it out. That's fine.
Whatever.
I mean,
surprise.
Tried.
I mean, that's not much of a spoiler, but I guess if we dived into anything else regarding those two,
yeah, I guess that's not too bad.
Okay, but anyways, having two leads being Latinas, in a horror movie where they're prominently, shown throughout the movie in ads and movie trailers and the movie posters.
Head of the poster type thing.
Yeah, they're the stars of the show.
It's it works, and I know a lot of people, and sometimes I may get a little bit. It's not gonna get political, but because I don't want to go that way, but. Sometimes when people say, "Oh, wokeness has a negative effect," well, I think this is a positive effect of trying to be more diverse in movies. Mm-hmm. Is yes, my little niece, my sisters, the younger generation of my family, they're gonna see two Latinas on big old billboard and be like, "Oh, that's cool. Like we could be there."
It's 100% like what's so cool about this movie is. You could watch this as a marathon, and this 100% feels like the world of the first two movies. I mean, this is 100%, I will say it's not a spoiler, because I think this is something that people have been asking questions. Why is it called Scream? Why isn't it called Scream 5? This movie is Scream 5. It's 100% Scream 5. The whole reason behind the title is because of these, the commentary behind Halloween and all the reboots.
The Child's
Play.
Creed, Child's Play. It says so much about those things, and it's one of those things where Scream came out at the perfect time in 1996. This movie has come at the perfect time in 2022.
I feel like they talk about how Scream resurrected the horror franchise in '96, right? So right now, we've had this talk. Elevated horror has really made its way the last 3, 4, 5 years, right? Everybody's always and Scream makes, not that they make fun of elevated horror, but they touch base upon it.
Yeah.
They talk about the Hereditary and Midsommar,
Jordan Peele and the Babadook. And,
it follows. Anyways, so but this movie could actually be, as much as Michael Myers tried to do it, and yes, they did it into effect where they brought back the slasher genre. I think Scream really is gonna just set it off. Like I think Scream really did it right, and did it the way that Halloween wished it did.
And that's not like a knock against that movie. For me personally, I know I love the 2018 reboot. I thought it was so good, but I feel like Scream has that effect where it's like a rock concert that does all these things correct and all these things right, where it's just masterfully directed in terms of a Scream movie. And everybody knows what happened in '96 when Scream came out. It just, boom, the whole wave of Dimension films was just slashers. And the audience is showing, we want those movies again. We want to see something like that. And I think Scream's going to start that. It's
because the horror community, and again, it makes fun of the horror community, and I know we're all part of it, and we also make fun of it, because some of them don't recognize the way that they are as horror fans. Yeah. So you have a group of horror fans that's like hoity-toity and like, oh, well, I don't watch anything made, after 1989. Or you have other people that say, well, I don't watch anything made,
I don't watch anything with jump scares.
Right, I don't watch anything with jump scares, or I don't want anything. I don't watch franchises. I don't watch major major movie studio horror movies. It's like you can't have it all, and you can't complain about it all either. Like, yes, you could complain about it, but at the same time, just enjoy what we're getting at this moment. We have a renaissance of, art house horror. Yeah. We have the slashers are coming back. Obviously The Conjuring and Possession, it's coming back. And you have psychological horror also, you had Malignant, this year.
Yeah, that's another one.
That's another movie we haven't talked about with Malignant. It was like so cool.
Right. Really cool.
For a big studio.
Big studio, and you have all these amazing directors and producers in horror right now, with I know you don't like him, but Ari Aster.
You were just throwing me under the bus today. First the Licorice Pizza, now Ari Aster.
Jordan Peele, right? James Wan. Radio Silence.
I mean, David Robert Mitchell. He did It Follows. Robert Eggers, who did The Witch. He did The Lighthouse. He's got another movie coming out that looks awesome. So we're seeing the one main thing I want to say about horror movies is that the fans will show up. The people that love horror movies always show up. Something I was reading going into this weekend on Scream was that Scream's not going to make money. Oh, it's not going to make money. The last movie didn't make money. And then all these insiders shocked that it makes money.
Oh yeah,
but everybody you talk to is excited for this movie. And it's something that's, again, addressed within the movie.
Right.
Where Scream is a movie that you showed to your little cousins, your parents showed it to you, or your cousin, or your aunt, uncle, whatever it was, you remember this movie. There's this nostalgia factor, there's generational nostalgia, all things addressed within the film. And it does help with the viewing experience, too. It really depends. Honestly, I don't know if you can come watch this movie hating the Scream movies, and all of a sudden you're going to love them. This is a movie made for people who really love slashers, who really love Scream films, and anything that have to do with like Wes Craven and whatnot.
As you guys may know, I always argue that I love Wes Craven in all his films. I like Wes Craven better than John Carpenter. Mm-hmm. I like, I put Scream and Nightmare on Elm Street as two of Wes Craven's best and better franchises than Halloween. I would say I would put those two over Halloween, as you guys know, and the way that they set up this movie and the way that they talk about, even that they talked about, the franchises and, how the latest iteration of Stab Bates, took what the fans loved about those movies and just shit out of it. Yeah. Ruined it, right? And how they had to get back to basics. So I feel like that's a lot of what these franchises are trying to do is get back to basics.
What's Scream? Victoria pointed this out, is that all these movies they're kind of starting from scratch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Terminator ignores all the sequels. Halloween's ignoring all the sequels. Scream does not ignore anything, and that's what's so cool about this franchise. It really embraces even its. I mean, there's not really a bad film in the franchise. It really embraces, I guess, maybe the lesser moments, like Scream 3, for example.
Still has its moments.
But that movie still has its moments because Wes Craven's behind the camera. Neve Campbell's still in front of the camera, carrying this whole franchise.
That's why I find it hard when people compare, like, Halloween Kills in this one, specifically Halloween Kills, because you just said that I said, like, Halloween Kills Halloween 2018 wrote off everything.
Yeah.
Scream is still the sequel to Scream 1.
Yeah, it's the same.
Like, Scream 3 still happened. Scream 4 still happened.
Yeah.
It's still the same
story.
It's
the same story. And you know, we live in a time now where we're getting, I guess, a bit spoiled. Because we're getting all these major franchises coming back to where...
Texas Chainsaw's next month.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw.
That's another sequel, though, I think. I don't think it's a reboot.
Yeah, it's going to be a sequel to the first one.
But again...
Are they writing off the rest of them?
They're writing off the rest of them.
But you hear horror fans writing off it because it's going to be a Netflix original.
But you know what's funny?
But it wasn't made by Netflix.
Yeah,
it just happened to go onto Netflix.
But there was a lot of drama behind the scenes with that movie, too, with them replacing the director the first week. Like, the producers saw the dailies. The movie was not even done with its first week of shooting. And they said, we're going to replace you with somebody else. And they did. But something that I wanted to bring up is that we're getting these wave of movies that we would have loved 15 years ago. If we would have gotten all these movies, like, the internet was still in that state of there's not much toxic fandom yet. Now we are in a state of toxic fandom, which Scream does address. To where you're not going to please everybody. And people look back fondly on these older films and think, oh, I love the original Halloween. I love Nightmare on Elm Street 3. And then a new movie comes out that's like really well made, well directed, and nicely acted, and they still aren't happy with it because it's not the movie that they remember from their childhood.
Right.
I have movies that I feel like that, and now that I watch it sometimes, like, it's hard to get through. Like, I would say Halloween 4 a little bit. I still like it, but...
has some love. I mean, what's so cool about... You know, horror fans and horror movies, the good ones. You know, every fandom has toxic fans, but horror fans champion anything, even something that somebody else can say that was terrible. There's somebody within the horror crowd that goes, "Oh, that's my favorite movie."
Terrifier.
Ever.
Terrifier.
I guess for you have a dislike for Terrifier, but there's people out there that absolutely love that character and the sequel that's coming and stuff.
Oh, I know.
Mine is Halloween 6.
You
don't like
just
it.
like Halloween 6. People love Halloween 6.
Yup.
Which is crazy because I remember years ago everybody was saying, in universal agreement, hey, we all agree that movie was fucking trash, right? Now you have all these different cuts of the movie and like people share their edits of the movie.
Right, that's Scream 4, right? Like Scream 4, everybody universally, for the most part, hated Scream 4.
Really?
Like, they
now there's this. Yeah,
I liked it.
I love Scream 4, but
we saw it this week, right? We saw Scream 4. We did a whole marathon of the Scream movies.
We did too.
And Scream 4, to me at least, and you know what's funny is I thought I watched Scream 4. Like, I swear, we popped it in. I could remember we watched it when it first got released on rental at Blockbuster, and we rented it. And I swear we watched it, but as I was watching Scream 4 the other night, I was like, I've never seen Scream 4. So on, was it Thursday?
And that's
was my
cool to
first...
see it now, because the things that it was saying then applies to what's going on now.
Oh, yeah, it's still...
Did you guess who Ghostface was?
No.
And that's one of the best things about that movie is the twist.
I
that
didn't.
one was pretty good.
It's so good.
So I thought I knew, but it didn't. I thought it was, and we could spoil Scream 4.
That one's been out for like 10 years.
Yeah,
I thought it was, for some reason, I thought it was going to be Hayden Panettiere, whatever her little name is.
Yeah, Hayden Panettiere, Kirby.
Yeah, Kirby, but I guess it wasn't, But anyways, now people are loving Scream 4, and they're comparing Scream 4 to this movie and saying, oh, Scream 4 is so much better than Scream 5.
Well, I love this whole franchise, and this is one of those movies where, people always go, oh, this is my favorite from my childhood. Scream is the movie that really, like, it was this and Sleepy Hollow that I saw back-to-back as a kid that made me want to, like, really love horror movies and keep watching horror movies. And, watching this whole franchise, there's nothing really, like, bad about it. I saw Scream 4 in theaters back when it came out with my dad and my sister.
Scream probably is one of the most watchable franchises.
It is.
There's not really a movie that's hard to get through.
Because anybody can jump aboard, and the fans are so welcoming because it is a very inclusive franchise. Even the TV shows, they have their own fans. The people love the show. I've never seen the show.
I saw the first season.
I think I might have seen
like one
few
episode
episodes of the first season, but there's people that are diehard fans of that show.
Scream Queens, was that related? Jamie Lee Curtis, Emma Roberts?
I think it was like...
that was on Fox.
That was on Fox. And that was Ryan Murphy helped create that one.
Oh, American Horror Story.
Yeah, American Horror Story. But I remember seeing Scream 4 and the hype around that on the internet and stuff, but then the reactions being very middling. And people going, it was fine. It was
gory.
Like, it was... But I remember loving it, and I know now there's like this whole nostalgia around it where people are going, we actually love this movie. Which I feel like, again, that goes back to me saying almost every horror film is going to be like this cult classic in years. People champion a movie. They like have this reevaluation of it. I'm trying to think of one that's just like hated. I mean, Urban Legend was one. House of Wax from 2005, which I believe we talked about and never uploaded.
Oh, yeah, that's one of them.
Yeah, House of Wax, which we all enjoyed, and we talked about House of Wax. That's gotten a new Scream Factory release, and people are going, oh, I love this movie. A bunch of people who were afraid to say that they liked the movie back when it
The
came
Bye Bye
out.
Man.
The Bye Bye Man?
People didn't like, and now it's like...
Oh, the Empty Man.
Oh, that, yeah. Not the Bye Bye Man. Empty Man.
I can't wait for Slender Man to happen.
Oh, yeah. I guarantee you that's going to be a movie. You're just waiting, like, oh, when people say they love that movie, I'm going to... you're just
yeah,
wait. You're that meme of the guy waiting behind the tree that's
yes,
going like
I
this.
can't wait for Slender Man to get on people's good graces. I mean, Jennifer's Body.
That's the perfect example.
Jennifer's Body.
And you know what? When I first saw it, I was in middle school when it came out, so like I didn't really like think much of it. I was like Jennifer.
Okay, if you were in middle school watching Jennifer's Body, I already know why you were watching that movie.
It was for one reason. It was for Megan Fox, but that was part of the marketing, and it misrepresented the movie. So everybody's trashing this movie because it's all about one thing.
Right.
Now you talk about Jennifer's Body, everybody's going, "Oh, that's a classic in the horror field." It's on the Criterion Channel. Like people are reevaluating this movie as a cult classic.
Because that movie, Diablo Cody came from being like Hollywood's, like sweetheart with Juno, and like she was the hot writer at the moment. She does Jennifer's Body, and then Hollywood just did her dirty because they mismarketed that movie. Yep. It bombed. So, and since it bombed Diablo Cody's career.
And Karen Kuzma. Karen Kuzma directed that film, who's a fantastic horror director. She did a film called The Invitation, which is also really, really creepy. It really hurt their careers because nobody understood that movie at that time period when it came out, which is really feminist forward, and it had some really cool things to say. It's also very gory. There's a little bit of Heathers in there. It's a fantastic film, which is one I think we all agree on, where like everybody looked back on it.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
But now it's one that I rewatch. Like I try to rewatch every year. I really enjoyed it. And
you got the Bottle Jergens next to you when you rewatch it.
Exactly. But I think we can all say that. But most horror movies definitely get reevaluated. But yeah, back to Scream or Scream 5. I enjoyed it a lot. I know you did. I mean, there's so much about it that just works.
Yes.
We're gonna save the spoilers for another episode, maybe down the line. Maybe when it comes to Paramount Plus
next month, maybe
Blu-ray. Yeah, Paramount Plus. Next.
Is it coming to Paramount Plus?
Yeah, I believe 45 days. So maybe what we'll do is we'll have
because it's a new year. So apparently all these movie studios with movies now have 45-day windows.
45-day windows. Paramount's they did that for A Quiet Place too. So 45 days after they put it online.
You have to pay for it again?
Well, no, it's going to be free, just like Peacock with Halloween. Nice. So I say we have a watch-a-thon here. We could stream it live.
Because HBO also does not... They're not streaming... like any WB movie, Warner Bros.
That's not happening this year.
It's not happening this year. They're
not
really releasing...
But they're also doing a 45-day window.
No, I thought it was 30 days. They did 30 days or 35 days.
Because The Batman is coming out on HBO Max in April. A month after it comes out in theaters. And we'll talk about the Batman once we get to our most anticipated in another episode.
I gotta look up a list.
Yeah, we'll go month by month, and we'll talk it through. If you want to be on that one,
perhaps.
maybe. But yeah, no, Scream
I know,
was
I
awesome.
can't wait for the J-Lo movie.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah, actually.
Hereditary is going to be the best movie of the year, I think. Remember when they used to make romantic comedies?
Yes.
I think
No.
everybody in the theater was thinking the exact same thing. I'm like, oh, these movies still get made?
Made
That one was good.
No,
My mom would have seen that movie.
You've got
It looks like a mom movie. It looks like a movie you'd watch.
Me and my mom might go
rent on
see.
a Friday night from Blockbuster or something like that.
I used to when I lived by myself.
You know, nobody around, you just run it. Made in Manhattan.
Made in Manhattan. Yes, let's get this.
Honey.
She's doing those movies though. J-Lo, she did another one a couple years ago where I don't even remember. She was like a fashion designer or something.
Hustlers, yeah, Hustlers.
But there was another
Hustlers
one.
was
There was
great.
another one though.
I know the one that you're talking about. And there's
She
one-
like fakes her way into the top or something like that. I don't know. But it's
there's,
Jennifer Lopez.
those of us who are actually Flopbuster fans know that we love Jennifer Lopez.
Right.
Explain.
Well, we gave reappraisal to the film enough.
Oh right.
But yeah, I don't have anything else to say about Scream. I absolutely
So
loved it. Seen it twice.
how's your guys' ranking on Scream?
Well, let's kick off the ranking.
Not me
order.
go first. Not me go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go first.
Not me.
Okay, for me, Scream is never going to be topped. The original, it's the movie that, in terms of horror movies, like, I wanted to write films when I saw it. Like, it's amazing. I think it's awesome. Great nostalgia. And it holds up. And I see so many people talk about how it holds up. So Scream's my number one. Number two, I still have Scream 2. I think for making a film within under a year after the first one, living up to the expectations of the first one, and delivering a really solid sequel, for me, it's up there at number two. And at number three, which for me is a pretty high spot, is going to be this most recent Scream. But it's very close to dethroning Scream 2 if I keep seeing it at the rate that I've seen it. If I see it for a third time, it might actually take that spot. And then at the number 4 spot, Scream 4. And then number 5, I got Scream 3.
Okay.
I don't think any of them are bad at all, though. I don't think... I definitely have issues with Scream 3, but it's not a bad movie.
Yeah. Scream 3 is hardest to keep my attention for some reason.
It's definitely like a
why.
Scooby-Doo episode. You kind of just have to live with that. But Parker Posey is amazing in that movie. She's my favorite character in that.
I think my issue with Scream 3 was just the way that they played out the reveal
With the brother?
with the brother.
Spoiler.
Oh, yeah. Roman
Which
Vale.
which is why I would go Scream 3 as 5 for me.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason why Scream 3 is just it's just thought the reveal
not
was
a-
so
I don't
bad.
think it's bad. It's just not my.
But you
It's
know
like
what's
the one I
crazy?
like the
It's
least.
the most important reveal out of all these movies.
Yeah,
But
She
it's
has a
like
brother?
the least interesting.
it's the least interesting one.
Yeah, like.
And then I think number 4, I'm going backwards, I guess. Number 4 would be Scream 2.
Okay.
Scream 2 would be. And do you need a reason why? It's just.
Nah, I don't want to know the reason why.
Okay.
You're looking like you kind of want
You
to.
sort of look like you want me to give you a reason why.
No, why do you
Why
have it at number 4?
So you do want a reason why.
The only reason I have it at number 4, and like you said, I really think it's a good movie.
Yeah.
And Scream, like I said, it's one of my top 2 favorite franchises of all time. But the only reason why it's that low is just the quality of how good the first
Then
three
in
are.
the next few are.
But the next few, at least in my opinion.
Which I'm seeing a lot of people say now too. It's just like they've lowered that down their list to make room for 4 and 5.
Right. So, 4 would come in at 3. 5 is my number 2, with the original being number 1. Like you said, to me, nothing will ever top an original movie.
It's hard to because it's the magic in a bottle. How do you it's lightning in a bottle. How are you gonna recreate that? That ending with the people that you want to see survive. I can't imagine how that was in theaters during that moment. Because I know they changed things because audiences were demanding that Dewey survive at a test screening. Dewey was supposed to die.
Yeah.
They went back and reshot the scene with him in the ambulance and whatnot. So it's hard to top the first
when
one.
you watch the first one, then you can see when they kill Dewey or try to kill him, you're like, okay, that's definitely a death blow. And then they show him in the ambulance, you're like, what? He survived?
Yeah.
So what was your ranking then?
Number 1, Scream. And then number 2, we're going with Scream 5.
Scream.
Scream. No, I scream, you scream, we all scream. For ice cream. Okay. Number 3. Number 3 is number 4. Number 4 is number 2, and then Scream 3 is last.
All right.
What's your ranking?
Again, none of these. I don't think any of these are bad. There's just always something about the one before it that I like a little bit more. So yeah, number 5, super original Scream 3,
Okay.
probably. I think I'm putting Scream 2 at number 4 as well.
Okay.
You get really upset. There's a
No.
twinkle in your eye that
No.
gets murderous when
All
someone
this
puts...
Scream 2 hate, it's unnecessary.
I don't hate Scream 2.
It's the same twinkle that we saw when we saw how good Rob Zombie's Halloween was.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're like,
Or how good Jason X is.
for real. What did I say? Scream 2 is number 4. Okay, number 3 is probably Scream 4. And then 2 is Scream 5, and then number 1 is probably Scream. I think Stu and Billy are my favorite killers of the whole franchise.
Stu and Billy.
It's
When I rewatched the first one, Matthew Lillard, oh my god!
I love Stu
I
Ulrich.
couldn't keep my eyes off him off screen. like when he was on screen, I was like, I'm just watching Matthew Lillard.
That's how I feel with
He
Skeet.
is just like, he steals every moment.
Matthew
It doesn't matter
Lillard,
what
early
he does. It
2000,
doesn't even matter what he's doing.
like she's all that when he was on.
He's
on
got the
that,
best scene and she's all that.
like his dancing
Give it to me.
and like the give it to me, baby.
It's the best scene.
Right. But yes, when you're watching Scream, it's like you're looking just at, Ulrich and, Billy and Stu.
You know, I don't think anybody knows. Well, some people know. Jason from Sinister Cinema knows. We met Matthew Lillard at a convention. And being a huge Scream fan, I could have been like...
Losing it.
I could have been losing it. Oh my god, I got some this, that. How's it like we're going to West Craven? Or blah, blah, blah. I had a few drinks because they were giving out free drinks. They invited us to like an open bar after the con. It was a party where all the people were there taking pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I hugged Doug Jones, who played Abe in Hellboy, who was like the nicest guy. Shape of Water, he was in that too. He's the Bye Bye Man for the Bye Bye Band fans. So I know Gabe's like a huge fan.
I
of
know
that
there's
movie.
about 6 of you.
All 6 of you.
I've actually never seen My Bad Guy.
We should talk about that movie. We should watch it.
I misspoke. I meant The Empty Man.
Yeah, that
earlier.
is awesome. Bye Bye Man.
I've never seen it. I have not seen it.
You guys should see it. It's pretty bad.
I want to see Slender Man now. A little bit.
I've never seen that one.
Let's watch
so
it.
anyway, we met Matthew Lillard, and I kept joking with Jason. I'm like, you know what they should really do is they should do a movie and shoot it in black and white, and it's a movie about Shaggy, but it's like Logan, where all the mystery gang is dead, and like you just hear Johnny Cash's Hurt playing, and it's just him roaming like the desert and stuff, and like he's like, you should tell him that, and I was like, at that point I was pretty hammered, and he was talking to everybody. He was nice, and I went up to him, and we shot the shit for a little bit, and I'm like, I gotta pitch something to you. He's like, a lot of people would like an opportunity to pitch something to an actor. And he's like, and you just pitched me one of the worst things I ever heard. And it was me just like completely like, I could have gone with anything. And I was just like, I'm like, you ever seen Logan? He's like, yeah. I'm like, what did you think of it? And he's like, oh, I thought it was really good. I'm like, think of Logan, but it's you as Shaggy. And there's another guy, the dude from, and he does the podcast with Christopher Nelson.
Sean Malfunction or something.
Sean, I love his show.
He was just at that horror convention we went to.
Yes, he does a great
His
show.
name is Sean.
He visits a lot of movie sets, like where they shot movies like the Nightmare on Elm Street house or
Which we went to.
Child's Play, The Apartment. And he was there and he was so nice. He was so cool too. And I'm like, hey, I just talked to Matthew with this movie idea I got. What do you think? He's like, I mean, it's awesome, but nobody's gonna give you the money for that. So that was fun. I got a picture with that. I'll repost that. But Jason was laughing. It was so cringy.
Put it up on the screen when you upload this.
I remember Matthew. He was so cool, and he's like, honestly, he was like telling me about me being a screenwriter and stuff, and just like he's like, that's the worst idea I ever heard.
I think it's the best idea.
I thought it was the greatest idea, but it was all down.
Could be an SNL sketch.
It was
But you know what though?
sketch.
You could look at it as like you revitalized his career because I think he was on that NBC show Good Girls.
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah.
and he's been on
There's
some more
definitely some
things
interest
where Matthew Lillard is sort of like making a
and
comeback.
I bet every time he goes into a studio, they're like, what would be really good? You ever seen the movie Logan? And not this again.
He just meets you when he
Not
walks
this
into a
again.
casting call and it's just you sitting there.
Somebody should make like a 24 hour cut of just him dancing to that.
She's All That.
Yeah.
But no, he was the coolest guy, and it goes back to what you said. But he's like, you can't take your eyes, because he's so funny and he's so charismatic in Scream. When that reveal happens, he's just a Looney Tune character at that point.
Clearly talked into it a little bit.
Sometimes when I'm just messing around with Jess, I'll be like, oh, was he here? She's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, this from Scream. And she'd be like, oh, yeah.
My dad quotes that, and he doesn't even remember what movies it's from. Because he doesn't remember any movie he sees, 30 seconds after he's seen it. So he'll, remember quotes.
It's like my mom.
He'll remember quotes and be like, oh, what's that from? And then I'll tell him the movie, and he's like, "No, it's not really." I'm like, "You just quoted."
He's actually asking you,
he's like,
so he knows.
He's just he doesn't remember.
It's what, Justice like that. I wish I was like that because it's like every movie would be brand new.
Every movie would be brand new.
Yeah, every single one. I'll rewatch something. She's like, "Oh, I've never seen this." I'm like, "We just saw this 2 months ago." What?
Maybe seeing the new Spider. I'm like, Andrew Garfield's in this.
Another spoiler.
No, it's been a month that the internet's clearly seen
spoiled
that
it.
movie.
Right. If you don't see a Marvel movie within
2 days,
you're in for your movie being spoiled. You gotta go see it opening weekend. You get Thursday through Sunday. After opening weekend, that's
free game.
Unless you're in the military. My brother's in the military. He left the week Spider-Man came out. He was so excited to see the movie. And he's like, Tony, I won't be able to see Spider-Man. I'm like, how are you going to avoid spoilers in there? He's like, well, nobody else has Wi-Fi or anything. And I said, that's true. You're going to have to cover your ears and eyes as soon as you walk out that facility.
She's going to be greeting him. You should just hold the poster when you see him.
It just says Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire,
are in Spider-Man.
That's how the terrorists are getting the American soldiers. It's just for that science. Tobey Maguire is in Spider-Man.
Fuck. But no, the whole franchise in general, when we talk about Scream, I know it has its detractors and people don't like it and stuff, and that's fine. Any movie has that. But for me, Scream has always been, ever since I was a kid, there's this huge love of horror when you watch Scream. And you feel good as a horror fan. And that's how I felt walking out of this new movie. It felt good to love horror movies.
So let me ask you guys, because sometimes as horror fans, we always talk about our Mount Rushmores. How do you guys feel about Ghostface on a Mount Rushmore as one of the 5 best horror villains? Now, I've read there's drawbacks to this because Ghostface is just a costume.
It's just rotating.
It's just rotating colors. But do you feel though Ghostface deserves to be on that Mount Rushmore of horror icons, or not because of the rotating villains?
I think 100%.
I think it's the essence of Ghostface.
Yeah, the essence of Ghostface. Every kid in America from 1996 until now has been Ghostface once for Halloween.
I was going to say, there's always a Ghostface costume.
I was Ghostface for Halloween. I had the voice changer. I know, my cousins did, my friends did.
Right.
You know the quotes. And if you know the quotes, at that point, it's iconic.
I would say some people know Ghostface more than, Michael Myers, the average horror people.
Yeah, anybody can see that costume. They know, oh, it's Scream. They go, it's Scream.
Or that's Ghostface.
But they know exactly what it is. Even without knowing it, that's Ghostface. They go, it's Scream. They know exactly. It's like Freddy Krueger. They know that's Freddy Krueger. Mm-hmm. And obviously Michael Myers is up there. He's the number one. At that point, you have to admit, just every kid in America knows who that is. But I would put Ghostface in the top 5 slasher villains for sure. Even though it's hard to nail down one, I think just the pure essence to what Victoria said. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree that he's in the top 5.
Yeah.
Cool. So that was our thoughts on the new Scream. That was our ranking. Like I said, it's a huge love letter to the franchise, to Wes Craven, who, when we talk about... Yeah, Wes Craven obviously would have loved this movie. Kevin Williamson loves this movie, who wrote the original films. He was on set all the time. There's pictures and stuff. But what's so cool about Scream now, and this, not reappraisal, but this really fond remembrance of the franchise, is that people are recognizing Wes more to what you said. As this big, horror fans know Wes is a big deal.
Right.
But I feel more film fans and average, just casual fans are definitely more appreciating Wes Craven more. John Carpenter was always the guy where people say, who's your favorite horror director? John Carpenter.
Well, think even Wes Craven has two of the biggest franchises, and it's by him.
And yeah, it's by him. And 3, if you count The Hills Have Eyes, it's got 3 movies in the franchise. He's done it.
4, Last House on the Left.
Last House
Holy
on the
shit.
Left.
That's had
And The People Under the Stairs is having a new release too. And I think by the time you have 2 movies, it's a franchise. Yeah, I think didn't I hear something about Jordan Peele like producing a new People Under the Stairs like a year or 2 ago?
because not to minimize Jordan Peele, but Jordan Peele has a whole urban horror,
Elevated horror.
Elevated horror.
urban elevated horror, with Candyman and Us and.
So let me raise this question:
Candyman was also one that was last year.
and we talked about the Mount Rushmore of horror villains, and we put Ghostface on there. Gun to your head right now. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of creative minds in horror?
James Wan.
You're putting James Wan on there?
Mm-hmm.
I'd agree with that. Who are you putting on there?
Like my number 1 or just in general?
In general.
First one you think of?
I mean, we know it's Wes, but who else?
I gotta put Jordan Peele based on his short quantity of work, but the quality that he's put out, whether he's directed or produced it, it's top notch.
Between 2015 and now, or 2017 and now, and there's nobody else that should just come firing out the gate. Like, guess what, guys? I'm like super funny, right? Well, did you know that I'm like the biggest horror fan? And like,
because Get Out was, when you first see Get Out, it was like, damn.
Yeah.
when I saw Get Out, it had the same effect on me that I had watching Scream on VHS.
And
I
then-
walked out telling people like that felt like
When you saw Us,
Yeah.
Us had a little bit of lesser effect, but you could tell where he
It's a
was
solid
going.
I had
It's
no
a-
problems with
right?
us.
But
When I
the
saw
No, me
it.
neither.
With
Yeah.
Us is that it's living up to the hype of Get Out, which Get Out is a perfect horror
Right.
film.
And then he produced
Candyman.
Candyman, and then but Candyman is his own handpicked director
Yeah.
who shared
Nia
his
DaCosta, yeah.
who shared his vision for Candyman, and then you saw Candyman, which that Candyman and the way they explain backstory. When I say that the original could never be like superseded by like a remake, that is a very hard one for me to be like, maybe.
Well, the
I
mythology
saw-
in that
Maybe.
one works so
I also
well.
saw an interview from her talking about like all the posters were say his name, and even the first one you say his name 5 times. It was also a take on like police brutality,
Yes.
because just another victim, but say his name is Clive Barker. Don't just say Candyman. This is who Candyman is.
You know what's funny?
All
is
these like
that-
that's what he
And
drew all those
one of
pictures.
the things that I really like, right, is I like all types of music, and we've had this discussion, but I really hate how the horror community has really saying, "Oh, our music is heavy metal. Our music is rock, horror and rock, horror and heavy metal." It's not. It's hip hop. Hip hop has always had a hand in horror.
Yeah.
Whether it be Will Smith, Nightmare on Elm Street, whether it be the Ghetto Boys, also Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah. Let's not forget that to the greatest of all time, being in horror movies, LL Cool J and Busta Rhymes.
Busta Rhymes, Snoop Dogg, and
Snoop
Bones.
Dogg and Bones, which another movie
Tales from the
that
Hood.
gets a lot of reappraisal.
Oh, that's not
a lot of people
Snoop
love
Dogg.
that movie now too.
Right. Yes, you had Tales from the Hood.
But that's
you
not
know.
Snoop Dogg, is it?
No,
No,
but
he's not
it's
that.
I was
also
thinking
they had
Bones.
a hip hop soundtrack. You also so hip hop is really involved. So when you look at
Leprechaun in the Hood.
what Jordan Peele has done, where you take Luna's "I Got 5 on It" and then
Yeah.
you
Oh, yeah.
slow it down, and you're like, damn. You take Beyonce's "Say My Name" for Candyman, like hip
Yeah,
hop
right.
is just.
He's one of the
Also
few
ingrained.
guys right now that when a general audience member sees his name from the
Jordan
mind
Peele?
of Jordan Peele, the ticket's bought.
He's coming out with another one that's got
Yeah,
Stephen Yeun.
It's called Nope, and I heard it takes place in a Walmart. But by the time you see that man's name on a Super Bowl TV spot or whatever it is, it's your mom, it's your grandma, your sister, whoever it is. They go, "Oh, I want to see that movie." That movie's a hit by the time his name's on the poster.
There's two. So I feel like Jordan Peele is gonna be as divisive as what's his face?
M Night.
No. The other black director that does the Medea movies,
Tyler Perry.
Perry?
Tyler Perry. And I'm not comparing their talent. What I'm saying though is, as general audience, right?
Oh,
You
sure.
see Tyler Perry movie, you've already decided whether you're gonna go see
Well,
a
you're gonna see
Tyler
based off the name.
or based off
Yeah.
the name, right? That's the same thing as Jordan Peele. You see Jordan Peele's name, people are either going to decide, I'm going to go see it because it's Jordan Peele.
Right.
I'm not going to go see it because it's Jordan
That's
Peele.
how I feel with James Wan.
Yeah.
James Wan's
And
a
that's
big
another
one.
one. James Wan too. James Wan. Most people go.
I will
off,
go
like,
see it if it's James Wan. Usually.
Yeah.
And James Wan, he's very special as far as, all the franchises that he's created. Like, we say Carpenter, we say Craven, right?
But who's created as many franchises as James Wan?
Nobody.
I don't think anybody.
Saw, Conjuring, Insidious, Aquaman. Right? There's more than one now.
There's
Yeah,
more
he
than one.
directed it, but he made it $1 billion hit.
What else has
and
he
he had
done?
the ultimate task of directing a movie where Paul Walker dies in the middle of shooting. And Fast 7.
He did Fast 7?
He did Fast 7. And he did Dead Silence.
Oh, right. Dead Silence.
Which is an underrated, awesome thriller.
I also just thought of someone else. He's not really the
Well, go
director.
ahead.
Jason Blum.
Jason Blum
Producing.
is the name. He's a producer, but you have to put him up there when you think horror movies.
I know you said in the past when you see Jason Blum produce it, you're going to go see it whenever you see
Just
it.
when you said who's come up with so many franchises, I guess not come up, but like think of all the ones Jason Blum has produced. That's like
the
Paranormal
reason
Activity.
why Jason Blum has forever
Even
my
some of
ticket.
the Insidious ones, right? He produced
some
of
Insidious
them?
movies.
Yeah,
all of them.
Insidious.
Blumhouse.
It's all Blumhouse. The reason why he always will get my ticket is that his model of filmmaking is we're going to take a chance on a director.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to take a pay cut. They're going to get a bunch of the box office receipts, and we're going to turn this into a $100 million hit.
Mm-hmm.
That's his goal with every horror film he's done. Regardless of the quality, I can't think of a horror film from Blumhouse that bombed. Even regardless if it's good or bad,
I feel like there was one and I can't think of it right now.
I can't think of it. Even everybody says,
Recently.
stop doing the Purge movies. And then we all go see the Purge movies. Even those movies, like they were a big hit.
As a person that has seen all the Purge movies, yes, they are a big hit. It's because, but every single one has hit.
Yeah.
Every single one has hit some sort of cultural or political, thing with it, and it hit as far as going to current events.
The one that came out during election year, and the whole marketing was that it was called election year.
This one, the last one,
Forever Purge.
Forever
I really
Purge.
liked that.
I didn't mind that one.
I liked
No,
that
I
one.
liked it because it was talking about immigration, and guess what? We're under at that point in time where we're talking about immigration and building walls.
Yeah. But no, Jason Blum is a name where people years from now are going to go, oh yeah, remember that producer that made all these
Even just
really
the
good
company,
franchises?
Blumhouse in general.
Blumhouse. Yeah.
I'm the same way with A24, as you know.
Of course.
A24 comes up, I'm seeing it.
A24 is one where I will see it depending on who is making the movie. I love a lot of A24. I love the Safdie brothers, Good Time, Uncut Gems, Red Rocket, Sean Baker. But it depends because I feel like a lot of their films, and this is what they're really good at, is marketing. A lot of them, in terms of the horror films, kind of feel the same to me. But their dramas and their comedies are like some of my favorite, end up being some of my favorite movies of the past 10 years. There's one coming out soon.
Yes, X.
X. Director Ty West directed one of my favorite horror films of all time, House of the Devil. And he's doing that. And I think that's going to be the most different A24 horror film. I think it's going to be so fun and so crazy. But yeah, A24, you can throw them in there too. They've made elevated horror. We never knew what to call that until they came.
Until Scream came out inside Elevated Order, because I was just calling it an art house indie horror.
Yeah. And that's credit to A24 is that they've been putting out these movies that critics love, audience members go, that was crazy, that was weird.
So I never base off whatever movie I watch based off what critics say. Right. But you're right. In these elevated horrors, it's been mostly critics praising it and fans not really liking it. And the same vice versa. Sometimes when fans love it and critics hate it, it's sort of like, okay. So any movie I've ever seen, I don't wait for somebody else's opinion.
Right.
I just go watch it. Like, I don't really care. I've seen so many bad movies.
No, and that's the only way to watch movies is to figure out on your own, are you going to like it?
The only one I didn't go see right away and waited to see what people were saying was Hereditary. I did not expect what I saw from Hereditary at all.
It was being hailed as one of the greatest horror films of all time. And say what you will about that movie.
I would say the last decade.
But the marketing worked. Everybody wants to go see Hereditary. I haven't seen the effect of Hereditary having that, regardless.
That one made me uncomfortable.
Regardless how people feel in Hereditary, and Hereditary is a scary fucking movie.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you uncomfortable. I haven't seen an effect
Toni
like
Collette
that
was
on
snubbed.
anything, and I can't think of it in a while. Because you think of horror movies, the audience is having fun. Hereditary, you do not have a fun time.
No.
It sits you down for a nightmare.
The score is unsettling for
Yeah.
Hereditary.
The marketing was unsettling. The performances are unsettling.
Toni Collette got robbed of any
Toni
award
Collette
ever.
is insane in that movie. But yeah, E24 is one of those voices where you know exactly what you're getting from the film, and that's what you're coming for.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited for all the new movies coming out this year. Scream has kicked off the year in a really positive, fun manner, where for the first time, a lot of things in the horror community and the film community don't feel very toxic.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels fun to be a film fan. And we got a lot of stuff coming out, too. There's a lot of stuff. And hopefully, I believe that next week, we're going to try to talk about that. Morpheus, Morbius, I hope I never have to see that trailer again.
I think I've seen the movie at this point.
I think I've seen the movie within 3 minutes, but we're all Jared Leto fans here.
Well, we all belong to the cult of Jared Leto.
Yes, we do. So I think.
Are you going to see Jackass? Are you interested in
Yeah,
Jackass?
I want to see Jackass. Bad.
Yeah. You know, Jackass was one of those shows as a kid where I didn't really get a chance to watch it a lot, but whenever I did, I always found it funny. I enjoyed their past movies.
I'm excited to see
and they're one of those guys where you just have to, like, I mean, there's greatness there and, like, in the comedy circle, and, like, when they come out, you gotta go see it. And I really liked Bad Trip. I think you saw that too, right? The Eric Andre movie.
Oh yeah, I actually just saw that
that was hilarious.
2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I thought it was really fun.
I thought it was so much fun. It was a very cool and inventive way to make a movie, but do like the stunts.
Yeah.
It was like a Borat, you know.
Yeah,
but
I'm ready to see stuff like that again. We haven't got that in a while, so
No.
I'm ready for Jackass. I think it's gonna be really good.
I'm looking forward to Texas Chainsaw.
I'm curious about it.
I'm curious.
Clearly,
I
y'all
don't know what
don't
it
feel the
is.
same because there was dead silence right after.
I've seen the whole because I haven't seen any trailers. I've just heard about it, and it's so close
There's
to
not
being
even really a
released.
trailer, is there?
It's
There's like
a little
a 2
teaser.
second
Yeah,
video.
like you know, but I will say during this pandemic, it's hard to go to the movies for a lot of people. I understand that. But I will say this, though. If you're a Hollywood studio, you're seeing what's selling. And it's basically superheroes and horror. Mm-hmm. So horror has really established itself as a way that for people is going to go out to see horror.
There was never a time in Hollywood history, and this is why a lot of people get mad when studios and average moviegoers look down on horror movies. There was never a time when horror wasn't bulletproof. Horror is bulletproof. No matter what, everybody pays to go see a horror movie.
Even if it's bad.
Everybody. And there's a reason why horror has standed the test of time. You can put an original horror movie out in theaters. Guess what? Because people just, at the end of the day, they want to have fun. And that's what it's all about. Go and have fun.
Horrors are date night
being
movies.
scared.
That's why people show up and what do you want to see? Horror.
But now we're having the return of the romantic comedy.
Do you think it's going to spew a whole other bout of movies, like in the theater? Not besides like Hallmark movies with this Marry Me?
I hope so.
If it does well, I guess.
I hope so. I mean,
I hope
regardless.
so.
You know,
I think it looks good.
Movies like that get me excited, regardless of quality, because I just want to see the mid-budget movie return. COVID has killed it. Everything you see that's a smaller scale movie is on Netflix.
Well, I don't think COVID killed it. I mean,
COVID
COVID killed it, but it was on life support.
It was on life support.
Of Hulu
COVID
and
pulled the plug.
Netflix.
Well, it was on life support when people went, well, why do I have to pay for that if it's going to go on Hulu and Netflix?
Right.
The moment people started saying that, mid-budget studio movies died.
The mid-budget comedy,
it doesn't exist.
Romantic comedy, the regular comedy, just anything mid-budget is just gone. It's either going to be $100,000 movie franchise or you're going to get the horror movie.
Yeah, it's $100 million or it's a $1 million horror movie. Well, yeah, we'll talk about that next episode. Movies we're looking forward to seeing. We'll go by calendar, see what's up within the year. Hopefully we get these movies and Omicron doesn't like completely destroy our movie going, but
freaking Decepticon ruining our
I think it's called like Oma Delta. Oma Delta. Is that what it's called? Deltacron.
Deltacron?
Is it called Deltacron?
I thought it was Omicron, which is sort of sounds like the
there's a new one after Omicron.
the virus that
People call it Flurona too. Next to the flu and Corona.
You get both of
The
it.
people
because
even
Omicron sounds like Unicron, which is the virus Optimus Prime gets.
Oh my god, that's why they named it that.
No, the people
It's
that
all a
came up with the
reboot.
name.
It's all promo for a new Transformers coming out.
I hope so. Oh my god, Paramount, please give me another
With
Transformers
Shia LaBeouf.
movie. bring back Megan
You know,
Fox.
the original movie's out in 4K. I almost picked it up.
Which one?
Transformers?
The original.
Oh, the movie, the cartoon movie.
Yeah, the 85.
Oh.
Yeah, I saw that at Best Buy.
I almost picked it up.
So
I'm
did I,
interested.
but I think people would have gotten mad if I picked up a Transformers cartoon movie.
But I got nothing else to say. I thought Scream was awesome. It was so cool. I was so happy to see it. I'm probably going to see it again when it comes out on Paramount. And hopefully, let's do a watch-a-thon. Watch along with it. We could do some commentary. That would be fun. I think that'd be really cool.
Yes, we're going to try to do, like Tony said, live streams. Maybe try to do a Twitch channel so you guys could ask us questions. We could watch maybe a movie between us, and you could hear all the commentary, ask questions, whatever, and just try to keep things fun.
Keep it fun. It's
Will they do another one, do you think?
Another Scream?
Another Scream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to.
After this weekend, yeah.
There's a little Easter egg in there that kind of shows what
Yeah,
another character
there's
might
really
be.
good Easter eggs in this movie, and I
mean,
couldn't be happier. Like I said,
Yeah.
it was awesome. You want to say anything before we close out?
Don't think so. I'm good.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. It was great to do a return episode.
Great to be back.
It's great to be back. It's a different format, but I think this is a format that's going to stick. I enjoy this. This was really fun. Talking movies with you guys and just being back and talking about the things that we love. So if you haven't already, make sure to comment below, like, subscribe. We got our Facebook page. We'll resurrect that. We'll start posting them there again. And let us know what you want to see. What did you think of Scream?
What are your thoughts on Scream?
What did you think?
What's your ranking of Scream? Let me know what your ranking of Scream is.
Where's the justice for Scream 2?
Tell Tony Scream 2 belongs in the bottom half.
All right, I think that'll do it.
Punch Tony in the face.
Oh my god.
All right, thank you
All
guys.
right.